welcome back. Yep, coming up next is Kimberly Faith. She is going to talk to us about basically getting out of our own way and how to, harness our personal power. Kimberly, are you out there?
I am here. I'm so glad to be with you.
I'm so glad to have you. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a guest and during International Women's Day. It's amazing to have you here. And I just got to dive right in. I mean, you were sitting in the green room, the virtual green room, listening to the interview, and I cannot think of a better person to have follow Lauren than you. I mean, and what you do.
Wow, her story was inspiring, and just talk about such admiration for someone who can continue to be that positive just after everything she's been through. So, and her as well as you, Theresa. I was reading all about you when I was preparing for the show, and I was like, first of all, thank you for being a Navy veteran, and anyone doing a marathon broadcast like you are has my heart.
If my father was still around, he'd say, "What's wrong with you, girl? What's wrong with you?" He was from Mississippi and he did not play. So let's talk about this. You're an award-winning author. You're a speaker. You're a coach, but you are really looking at, harnessing the power, our own power every day. What does that mean? I'm talking about hope. What does hope mean to you?
Sure. So HOPE for me is an acronym for standing for Harness Our Power Every Day. And Theresa, I learned that firsthand back when I had my own small business in the 2000s. And for a variety of different things that happened, I had some investors, things go terribly wrong. And I lost everything during the economic crisis of 2008.
Wow.
And so I all of a sudden was there at rock bottom. I had followed all the rules, did everything we were taught to do. And then I was like, what? This doesn't work. What do you do now? And I had firsthand experience of how do you pull yourself out of that pit of failure that I had fallen into. And hope is what got me there.
Oh, wow. And how do you help other women? Because this is International Women's Day, right? So
Sure.
we hope there are women of all ages and some guys. My producer's there, Alan's there, some guys watching. How do you help other women who feel small? I have my moments when I feel small.
Yes.
How do you help other women see that they can get out of that, get past it, keep it moving?
What was so interesting is I stumbled into this. I never set out to write the book. It was truly an accident. I was doing work about personal branding and leadership branding with corporate leaders all over the world, over the world. And I would ask women to describe themselves in 3 words. And I was surprised, Theresa, how many times those words were small. And I kept looking. I was like, here I am with a group of international economists. Here I am with some of the top healthcare leaders in the world. Here I am with some leaders of manufacturing multi-billion-dollar budgets, and they were describing themselves in small ways. And so there was this day that I was with this one corporate group, and I showed them the image that I used on the cover of the book with a lion and the cat. And I asked them, I said, why are we all describing ourselves small like a cat when we have the strength of a lion inside? And there was an audible gasp in the room. And everyone looked around and recognized, Theresa, just like what you said, is that many of us have described ourselves as small when we're so much more.
Yeah, they definitely have. We definitely have. I know I have, many times described myself and in a small way, and I felt small. And that's one of the things. I mean, you can do just about anything to me and I can recover. The minute I start feeling tiny in a room, I just want to melt back into the pain and pretend like I was never there. This was never me. So when I saw your bio, I said, oh my goodness, she's coming to the show. That's amazing because you're really shining a light. You're shining a light.
And that was actually exciting for me because what I was startled, I was really privileged and excited and honored about the fact that I got to work with so many women around the world. But we all had this belief, Theresa, that we thought that somebody else had it figured out. So Theresa, we would look at everyone at the women in leading healthcare. We say, well, if they have enough degrees, they've got a doctorate degree, right? A physician's degree, they have it figured out, or this group has it figured out. And it was so sobering to me to say there wasn't enough degrees to stamp out this belief. There wasn't enough experience. There was no single industry. And at that moment, I said, we're all struggling with the same thing. This is not only an individual issue, this is a collective issue for us as women in the world. And that's when I set out to write the book, because I felt this compelling passion to say, oh, I've got to bring this to all of our attention.
Now, if somebody picks up your book, and we're gonna let's share with them how they can find your book first. Can you grab your cover again? Show them again, real quick.
Sure. It's Your Lion Inside. Discovering the Power Within. It's available on Amazon, or you can go to yourlioninside.com and download it there. It's also available on Audible and as an ebook. And what it is it describes the journey of thinking of how we're both individually and collectively linked. Because Theresa, that's what I love International Women's Day, and the fact that it has us think about how we're all connected. Every single country, all the women in these different countries, we're all at different stages of whatever's going on. And one of my favorite moments was when I was actually speaking in Dubai. I actually had sheiks in my audience, first time ever. I went upstairs and I saw this wonderful woman walking down the hallway. She had her hijab on and her outfit all the way down to about her knees. Stunning. And I said to her, when she walked by, I couldn't help myself, Theresa, forgive me. I said to her, my goodness, you are absolutely stunning. And she said to me, I was thinking the same thing about you. And isn't that funny? And in that moment, I then said in my American way, your eyelashes are amazing. And she said, Theresa, it took me forever to learn how to put them on. And in those 2 minutes, East and West, we completely forgot that we were miles, worlds apart, and we talked like sisters would. Well, then we parted ways, and I saw her an hour later walking beside another family member of hers that was in a full burqa. And this time, instead of looking up, with her shoulders back and her head up, she was looking down and shuffling. And I thought to myself, you too, sister, are trying to figure out the difference between the past and the future. And so, Theresa, it's something that we're all figuring out, is how do we make this way in the world and step into that power?
I totally agree. When someone picks up your book, and for everybody out there, if you guys are watching, well, of course you are, because you're listening to me talk. But if you missed the book where you can pick it up in Amazon and her website, you can also go to Tigo Direct, because Miss Kimberly is there. She's got a profile there. It's free. Wonderful. It's just a service for you guys to be able to connect with everybody that's on my show, especially International Women's Day. So just go there, send her a private message. She'll get it in her inbox. And when she gets time, she'll tell you where to go pick up the book. When someone picks up your book, what is a couple of the nuggets you hope they take away?
I identified 7 thought processes, 7 belief systems that stand in our way, and I labeled them as sisters, because we each are working with all of these belief systems. And so it helps to become friends with them. So when you open up each sister's chapter, find the sister that you dance with in your world. And then at the back of each chapter, I give you tips about how to become friends with the more powerful side of the sister. And I have found from people that it has been life-changing for them, Theresa.
Before I let you get out of the hot seat, I've got to ask you, this question, I saw it in your bio and I said, oh my goodness, that's a great question. The glass ceiling may also be your mirror. That's
a sobering thought, isn't it? What I have found is that we do tend to be very conditioned by what we see. And when we see all of these things, I'm not denying that the glass ceiling is real. And the more we believe it's real, the more we step into it. And so the only way I pulled myself out of that powerless place in life is to begin to write my own narrative and to step away from all of those other belief systems that the world was trying to hand us. So that was my question for many women is how often is the glass ceiling also a mirror?
Wow, that needs to be on a t-shirt. When you do it, please, I'll order a dozen. Because that needs to be a t-shirt. People need to see that. Before I let you get out of the hot seat, and I thank you so much for hanging out with me for these few minutes. I hope you'll come back later and we can go even deeper on the subjects. I think you're amazing. What does International Women's Day mean to you personally?
I've always believed that this global sisterhood that we have is deeply interconnected, that what happens with women's rights and women's movement in one country affects the other, and we're all deeply, intimately connected. And so that's what I hope as each one of us move forward. Not only are we changing our lives and the lives for our daughters and our sons, we're changing the lives for other women around the world.
I thank you so much for being on our show today and being part of our International Women's Day Marathon. Your name is absolutely perfect for everything you do. I mean, Kimberly Faith, how could it get any better?
I was actually born that way. Kimberly,
Really?
I dropped all my last names over time, but that is my birth name. And for a long time, I didn't like it, but now I fully stepped into it, Theresa, and for that exact reason. I'm Kimberly Faith. I'm all about hope, and speaking about loving ourselves. I've become a walking Hallmark card.
And a wonderful one at that. I thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of International Women's Day. You are the best.
Take care, Theresa. Thank you.
Bye-bye.